Shalom friends, and welcome to Learning the Hebrew Alef-Bet. In this video we are in tutorial number 13, and we're going to be learning the Pe and the Fe, as well as one final vowel marker, which is referred to as the kibbutz. So let me just write down up here that we are in tutorial number 13. And I've kind of got this backwards. Typically when you hear of the Pe and the Fe, well, you can see that the Pe and the Fe are identical to one another. The only thing that differentiates between the two is here again the dagesh, which is that single dot that appears in the middle. But typically you'll see it written as the Pe first. This will be the Pe, so the dagesh in the middle. It will have the pronunciation equivalent to the English P. Without the dagesh, it is the Fe. And the Fe is the equivalent of the English F. And as a general rule, most of the time when you encounter these letters, you only encounter Pe at the beginning of a word and Fe in the middle of a word, or at the end. But that's not always the case. You know, like I said, all rules can kind of be broken in. Think of Yom Kippur. You know, that is one case where Pe will appear in the beginning of a word, but just as a you'll notice that, especially in the words we're going to look at for the time being, typically Pe will be at the beginning of the word. There's also a final form, a final Fe, and we'll learn that in another lesson. So our last vowel marker that we're going to learn in this series is going to be these three dots that kind of go at a diagonal. This is called a kibbutz, and it gets the pronunciation kind of like a short U, like in put. So I'm going to put a OH there. But, put, foot. Well, I guess foot would work as well. Now, but I will say that we just basically brushed over, introduced the vowel markers, and really didn't get really into detail about them. There are more. These vowel markers will work in conjunction with one another, such as typically the shva, and it'll lengthen and shorten the vowel markers. That's a little more of an advanced topic that we can talk about in other videos, but there are also other very good channels out there that will explain that to you, how that works, and when you're dealing with root words and you're adding suffixes and prefixes, a lot of times the vowels will lengthen or shorten, and there's some general rules and guidelines to that. It's not just something that you have to memorize. There's kind of there's a formula to the way those vowel markers work. So you can take that up on your own later on. Maybe I'll cover it in later videos, but for now we just wanted to get a basic understanding of the most common vowel markers. So for the Pe and the Fe, you might see these written two different, well, actually a couple different ways. The block script has changed over the years. Here I'm using what is called the David script, and it's a little bit more simplified than some of the nicer, fancier block script. But the way I would write this is I would just start out, make one long letter there. That would be your Fe. If we were going to do it as the Pe, we want to start out the same and just make sure you get the dagesh in there. You might also see this as something like, oh well, sometimes I think this is easier way of writing. Just write like you start out like you're writing a kaf and come in like that, and that would be like a Fe. And then for the Pe, we do that. Just make sure we got room for the dagesh in there. So finish this up one more time with the Fe. I'm gonna switch back over to the way we see it above, and then the Pe. The handwriting script is not terribly difficult, and it appears very similar to the block script. However, instead of coming over the top, you're going to start down below and kind of make a swirl. That's what I call it. So it would look like that, something such as that, a little messy. But for a Pe, we want to make sure we get the dagesh in there. The Fe, again, be like that, and then the Pe. fe one more time, and then pe. If we go on and we work with our vowel markers, for the first one we'll test out the new kibbutz, and so if we wanted the equivalent to f, we would write the fe, and then ran out of room there, but the 3 diagonal dots. P would be dagesh in the middle, and ran out of room there again. Let me see if I can do that better for you. For Paul, with a kamatz, we would write out our pe, kamatz in there. For fe, zeri, pa with the patah, just the patah down below. The fo is going to have cholam vav next to it. And then, let's see here for our final one. So for our final one here, it's just going to be pu, and that's going to be a pe, and then the u vowel marker. If we go on to exercise 5 and 6, we're going to learn some simple. Alright, so on to the words, and I got the dishwasher running in the background, so if you hear that, that's what that noise is. So po is going to be a pe, and the cholam vav. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on a minute. This is actually, well, it's going to be reduced here, and then we're going to have a final hey. And this means here, as in, if I were to say ani po, it means I am here. Porim, that is actually going to mean fruit, so we'll have a pe. And notice how we're seeing the pe appearing at the beginning of the word. I'm going to have a silent shva down below, resh, hidik, and then a yud. And that is going to mean fruit. Shofar, obviously, probably many of you heard of that. The shofar, the sounding of the shofar, kind of like the ram's horn. The sheen, I think that's got a cholam vav. Fe, we're going to have a chamatz, and then a resh, and that means shofar. And then Purim, or Purim, is kind of like the Jewish festivity, or that here. This gets a the u vowel mark, resh, hidik, and then the yud, and then the final mem, and that just means Purim. For exercise 6, Panim, this means faces, so we're going to have a pe, a kamatz down below, a nun, I believe, Panim, that this is, I'm going to check on that for you, but Panim means faces. I believe that's the correct spelling for that. For some reason I was thinking it might be different, but if you think of in the Torah or the Bible, it says God moved across the face of the waters. The actual text there in Hebrew is well, Elohim Meruchefet al Panei Hamayim, and so moving across the surface of something, or the face of something, and that's where we'll find you see that quite a bit. Yeah, that's the correct spelling. There was a few in here that are a little bit strange, a little bit different. The next one is one of those, Rofe, and this actually means doctor. So I'm going to put the cholam vav there, and I'll check to see if that's wrong. But here we have resh, cholam vav, a fe, the tzeri, and this is going to end with a alef. So here again, you'll see, like I said, just like we've seen with the yud and we've seen with the hey, at the end of the word, a lot of times the final letter will work in conjunction with the previous vowel mark. So Raphael means doctor. Think of the angel Raphael, I think it's supposed to be the angel of healing. Efo is going to be an Aleph, Zeri, a Fe, and I believe we got the whole vowel is reduced, and then we have a silent, which I hey, but it's silent. Asking where. Efoata, where are you? And then finally, Yafe. Yafe is a Yud, Hamatz, Fe, and then Zeri, and then that final Hey again. I mean that Hey again, and that means nice. So if you were to say, you know, Mashlomech, how are you? What is your peace? Someone might say, oh, Yofe, I'm doing well. I'm nice. Now I have a feeling that I might have one of these wrong, and for some reason I think it might be Efo. So let me double check on that and say that we didn't really cover much on the kibbutz, the kibbutz in this one, which is the vowel marker. So I will show you some more on that in just a second if I can find a. Okay, I got it right. No, I didn't. That's right. I knew I was missing something. FO actually has a yud in it. So this would be like that. A fo. That's how you spell AFO. And so you see where and a lot of times the pay will begin at the beginning of a word, and the fe will be used at the ending of a word. I'm sorry, in the middle of a word, or and also at the ending. And that's generally the rule, but not always. And here's a good example: mishpacha, which means family, where we see the pay in the middle of a word. So mish pa, I'll have a chit, and then a final a. That's a very common word. That means family. There's now that I think about it, there's a couple more as well. Mishpat. So it's not always the case, and I may be exaggerating that a little bit, as if you'll rarely see the pay. But I've always noticed that a lot of times. You'll see. I guess what I should say is you'll see the pay being used in the middle word much more than you'll see fe used at the beginning of a word. Maybe that's a better way of clarifying that. If we got time, let's see here if we got some more time. Running out of time, but the kibbutz is you're gonna see it used commonly. I don't know why I didn't put more words up here with it in there, but you can always do like what we were doing in the earlier videos, using it in conjunction with words in English words, spelling English words in Hebrew. But here's a good one: Hanukkah. You've all heard of Hanukkah, so we could use that. We could spell that. We'll use the kibbutz, and it'll also use the kaf. So Hanu, and then you have a final kaf, and I think that's a patah, and that would be Hanukkah. So there's the kibbutz in there, and then we learned the did I say final kaf? Not final kaf, but just the kaf in the middle. It's the dagesh. Okay, so that's the pei and the fei. We'll pick up in the next video and continue on. See you there.